This series continues to be the king of the to-be-continued screen. This is my review of Attack on Titan, episode 23. Ooh, we're almost at the end of the series, and I'm getting really excited. And this episode was awesome. And by the way, guys, spoiler alert, if you don't want to know what happened in this episode, there's the door, douchebag! So now that we got that out of the way, let's just say it all, get it out of the air. Annie is the female Titan. Oh, that feels good to say, especially because we've all been theorizing about that ever since the introduction of the female Titan. And it makes a lot of sense here, and I love the background they give to Annie in this episode. Even though they introduce a lot of new characters in the military police, this is really all about Annie. But the first half of the episode is just sort of getting into her head a little bit. We get to see she's still with the military police, and she wakes up one morning all frizzled out and everything. We're then introduced to a few other members of her group. There's this one bubbly girl. There's a lot of them in this series. There's also this character, Marlo, who's kind of the antithesis to Annie in this episode. What I really like about it is they have this conversation where Annie essentially says that if you just stay within the flow of everything, you're basically trash. And Marlo takes this pretty seriously, and he basically just wants to do things his own way for his own justice. And there's this scene later on where he actually encounters these two soldiers that are selling their weapons on the black market. And this pisses Marlo off, so he decides to sort of confront them about it, but ends up just getting his ass handed to him. And then Annie finally comes in to sort of save the day a little bit. Marlo thinks that he should stand up for his own justice and just pick up his gun and shoot these guys. And even Annie's like, go ahead, do it, stand up for yourself, I'll even help you out. But he decides not to do it, and even asks Annie, does this make me trash now that I'm going with the flow? Do you think I'm like that Eren guy? Do you think Eren would do this in this situation? Would he shoot them? And Annie's answer is simply maybe. I don't know what it was about that answer, but it gave me chills. So the main focus of this episode is trying to save Eren and get him away from the city. And Armin has this plan where he's going to try to ask for Annie's help to help him out and try to get them through the entire city because she knows the entire infrastructure of pretty much everything. And they have sort of this like mutual trust going on. Or do they? The execution of the plan sounds really difficult, but I actually like how it immediately starts up, and you already have Mikasa, Armin, and Eren all there, and they're like, huh, that was pretty easy. But the scene starts to get really, really tense at the end when they decide, instead of just walking through the city, they're going to decide and go through this underground tunnel. And that's when the tension immediately just starts to boil over and build to this awesome point. Now, Annie claims that she is afraid of going into this underground area. She's scared of the dark, essentially. But no, there's more to this. You see, if she goes underground, she can't transform. What's more, Armin finally realizes that she was using Marco's 3D maneuver gear, and that's where she starts to sort of slowly go crazy. And I love how when they pan out, you can see that there's a lot of other people who are watching this situation. They know what's really going on here. And Mikasa, freaking awesome. I love how she immediately just takes off her robe and starts to get ready for battle. She just wants nothing more than to kill Annie. And as the scene is going on, Eren is starting to get really freaked out by this. He doesn't really know how to take any of this or even what to believe. Annie starts going insane. She starts laughing like crazy, showing expressions we've never seen before. And then she finally starts to go nuts and starts to transform. And as she does, all the soldiers emerge to try and stop her. And then you have Mikasa and Armin and Eren starting to run underground. But she has this other plan. She has this, like, ring, which she actually put on earlier, by the way. I always was wondering what that was. It has this little sharp point on it that she uses to hurt herself to turn into the Titan. And that's what happens at the end of the episode. She starts to explode. They pan out. You see the explosion in the city. To be continued screen. Damn right. Friggin' awesome episode right here. It was not an action episode, but it did not need to be. This was a tension builder, and it was the opportunity to finally get into the head of Annie. And she's a really interesting character. I really wish they would have given us more flashbacks of her as a child sparring. That looked like it was pretty interesting. Obviously, we've seen throughout the entire series she's kind of a badass fighter, and that makes a lot of sense seeing this background story. All the military police stuff, pretty interesting, but don't get too attached to these guys. They're probably going to get eaten. But that whole scene at the end when they were finally getting ready to go into that underground tunnel, that was really tense, especially because all the characters sort of really knew what was going on, but at the same time, they still didn't know if they should believe it or not, except for maybe Mikasa, who just wanted to kill her. But still, I loved seeing all of her expressions at the end. They were just batshit crazy awesome. And, you know, it really dawned on me at the end when she had that little pin thing on her ring. Just genius. I didn't even realize what that meant at the beginning of the episode, but that was some really, really great foreshadowing. For the most part, this was a pretty damn good episode. It featured a lot of the things that I really enjoyed. A lot of really good animation, music. The tension buildup was really the best part of this week's episode. There were some moments I thought that were a little bit slow, so I'm just going to bump this episode down to a 9 out of 10. But otherwise, if you're a fan of the series and you're continuing to watch it, you absolutely must see this episode, because it is going to be a great companion piece to what is going to be coming in the next one, which I can only imagine is going to be insane. So there it is, 9 out of 10, that's my thoughts. But how did you guys feel about this week's episode of Attack on Titan? Were you shocked that the female Titan was Annie, or did you know it all along? And did you have any favorite moments from this episode? You can let me know with your comments below. And make sure before you guys leave, give the video a thumbs up. It really is the best way to support our videos. That, and of course, checking out my brand new Top 10 Favorite Pokemon video. I worked really hard on it, guys, so make sure and check it out. And I will see you next time, guys. Super Kami Guru 9000, out. Oh, and by the way, me and Christian are about to watch Battle of the Gods.